is all you would do. This is the only lines you would have in here for CYPH. These are your lines. Now you know resistance and support on the way up. Now over 350, that would be your main key question. That's awesome that I just thought about that myself. Okay, well, Josh, AK-47, what about over this? Well, you're just going back in time. You know, I usually go 5 years typically right out of the gate and then start zooming out from there. If I don't need all this, right, and that noise, I find the 5 noise that I could run into, kind of zoom in from here, seeing those fails at 5. So going back off of those levels because I don't need current. That's just going to give me too much charting and a bunch of blank space anyway. And then I start finding lines here, and where do we have touches? So I just start coming in here and doing the same thing in the past. So we have a lot here, even all the way back at 350. Then I'd say right here's the next level. Really strong, and look what we're running into. That's right where my line's at today. It is at 360, right? So there you go. That's beautiful. And then you come in here and keep adding more lines. I don't like one singularity upper shadow. It might fail, it might not. I really like this area, you know, when you find a 380 into, you know, which one I won't put 2 there. What we'll do is so you can see 380, 395. So I kind of like split the difference there. Right click, edit properties, make that a fat guy, and then boom. Know that area is just going to be really strong. Could really do the same here with this guy, and we'll go ahead and mark that as a thick guy because of all the touches. And then over that, then you're coming up to this next, but that consolidation zone right here at 420, you can see a lot of upper shadows. And if I extend that back to the left, which I can see it already, but I'll do it for you guys, boom, almost runs into this upper shadow and the little wick bounce there. And then, of course, then the main guy, this is the main nasty, holy patrollies. If this could ever get the 480 into 5, holy matrolli towns. And that's it. And that would be not only how you trade from pre-market. When you come in, find your levels. We just even found more levels you can find in pre-market to trade. And then you come in here on the intraday and you can see how those levels have worked out like a gemstone for you. And you could just trade those levels. And now all you got to do is come in here and find your downtrend lines, which I didn't put any more downtrend lines. Sorry, I forgot to put more extra downtrend lines in on this play. Again, too steep of an angle, wouldn't put it in. This is the one decent downtrend I do see right through there. And, you know, good, you know, decent angle. All these are, now you can put them in, but these are more when you go like a 5-minute time frame. Those just end up being really tight bull flags, right? There's no real, that you can see is an actual trend that was built in. A downtrend, a trend team. Don't forget, when you're saying trend line or downtrend, you are saying a trend. This is not a trend, that is a reversal, okay? Remember that. And please stop again, for the love of Almighty Jesus, trying to put every trend line starting from the freaking bottom. There's a trend line. 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 Stop. Stop it. Stop. Give me that chicken sandwich. Give me the waffle fries. Stop doing that. Stop. So give me my chicken sandwich. Give me my waffle fries. All right. Stop doing that. There's your down trend. And that's how you put lines in. Whoa, nasty sell off. And 350. We're going to get high of day. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. Come on, be high of day. Yes, 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 yes. Nice, 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 nice. Good sell off there. Let's see here. Let me quickly. Are you on the live stream? I'll type it out too. Parad. How do you say that? Paradigm. How the fuck do you say that word? But are you on the live stream? Let's see, how close to resistance or support would you look to enter or exit a trade? Let's see how much room to breathe, scale in and out. Are you on the live stream right now, Para? Are you on the live stream? Let me just know. Let me know. If so, then yeah, I'll answer that. Paradigm. Okay, cool. Gosh, damn, that one. Now that's a hard one there. I'm like, what's the silent G? It's killing me. I hate silent letters. Oh, they're so stupid. I don't get them. Oh, Skeptic Stoic. What's up, brother? I know exactly who you are. It makes sense. Okay, cool. So real quickly, just to reread the word. Read not his name, but reread the question. How close to resistance or support would you look to enter or exit a trade? How much breathing room, scale in and out. So, two things. if bounce plays and reversals, right? So first, for both, minimum to me needs to be about 30 to 50 cents. Now, it depends on the mover. If we're looking at a stock that's, let me go find one real quickly. If we're looking at a stock that's like, what was a sub $1 play that's run here recently? That was IVVD a sub $1 play. What was one that was sub $1? Gee golly, I know this play wasn't it? I think maybe, yeah. Well, it's sub $1. My point being, if you have a play paradigm, skeptic, stoic, that is, say, going from, let's just go down here, and I'll just zoom into like right here. Well, not even that. Right here's good. And and you're going from, whoa, way too much space, Joshua. Somewhere right about right here, right? And you're working with a play that's going from like 70 cents to $1.20. Well, it's not happening. So 20 cents, right? And I've talked about this. So a play that's around, because typically, let's just say my crowd, my demo that you guys are listening are trading right around $1, right? So right around right here is the starting ground of what you're looking at in trading, generally most of the time. So with 75 cents to 125 area, you're looking for a minimum 10 to 15 cents, boss. 10 to 15 cents, maybe 20 cents is good. Then once you start moving up to this area right through here, and now you're trading like $1 to $2 range, give me 25 to 30 cents. And then when you start moving into the $2 to $5 range, kind of where we're getting to now, give me minimum 30 cents, but possibly give me, 50 cents. Just depends on what we're setting up. How you always think about this, we always talk about how big was each reversal. So the reversal here is 260 down to 225. So we're going to give that, we'll call it really 265, right? So we'll call it 40 cents. So now I know I'm working with 40 cent pullbacks, 40 cent reversals, 40 cent bounce plays. So how far does the bounce play go? Well, and that would be my target. So same thing for the next reversal, we're looking for short of top, 285, 290 we'll call it really, or whatever. Then we go down to 250. So now we have a 30 cent reversal. So okay, we're working in the same area. Then same thing again here, 310 down to 270, 40 cent reversal. So typically you want to look at that too as well, depending on when you've entered the trade, right? If it's way early on in the morning, you may not get a good tell of the tape because a play like this didn't really get to move it until in market. Sometimes in pre-market, a lot of our plays we're looking at them for 2, 3, 4 hours, and I don't really need to worry about, I don't need to worry about, which I'm going to get into one extra little thing on small caps before I move on, which would be charting pre-market. After a certain amount, depends on when you come in, which I'm going to get into that. But say a play's been moving from, say, in pre-market from 170 to 350. Well, now it's going to show you that. Like, say, if it's moved this much and moved all around, moved for 2-3 hours in pre-market, now you can generally just use that chart and then, also tell yourself what's the tell of the tape. How big are each reversal is going to be. But for me and myself, again, usually like a play, I want to go with the sandwich. I want to say, old resistance equals new support at 275. Well, I know this play needs to go up about 40 cents for me to get a good bounce play. So 275, it goes to 310. Now I feel safe for it to come back down to bounce off my area. Voila, for the, boom. Same thing here. Goes, 320 break, blah, 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 or I want to bounce play around 310 to 320. I like this resistance area. Past chart history, you saw this too, as well as I did. Have your line in there already. Okay, give me 40 cents, minimum 40 cents. Well, we break out. We'll call the top area 320. To 355, right? So 35 cents, especially from here, definitely is 40 cents. Voila. Wait for the 40 cent pullback, and then you get your bounce play. Trying to hold this shit yet again on another 40 cent pullback. 340 down to 3. So does that make sense? Skeptic, Stoic, Paradigm, also King Lion, everyone else out there listening, and hopefully everyone that's going to be listening to this future right now, whether it's December the 1st, the 21st of November, whenever you're watching this. That's what I'm always looking for. Make it make sense. Like I always say, build me the chart. Show me the chart. Look at this, fucking perfect. Now we're about to be a 40 cent bounce play. This chart's running technically sound. This is exactly what I'm talking about. I'll build a technically sound chart where you can get a lot of different, I hate this because I want 350 to be the high of day. But yes, that's what I'm always looking for. Look at the bounce. And so, yeah, always look at the reversals. The other thing I want to show you is coming in to chart in pre-market. I'm going to have to go back and find something that's moved here. Already 30 minutes into this. So this is a small cap part one. Maybe I'll make this 2 parts, and this is going to be small caps. So I think I'll do that. I'll do small caps right now. We'll take a break. I'll come back and do large caps this afternoon because I don't want to make this too long-winded. So let me go to my morning alerts. This will be the last part of the small caps and how to chart, how to trade them. Well, not how to chart or trade them, how to chart. I could go to how to trade them in so many different ways. I did bring up ways how to trade them, right? Downtrend break, waiting for candlestick confirmation, trend lines, how to put them in. So a lot of different ways how to trade them. A lot of new ideas may be brought up, right? How big the pullbacks are going to be, how big the bounce plays are. Now you know when you're taking a trade, quit home run hitting it. You see that bounce plays are 30, 40 cents. You see reversals 30, 40 cents. You need to be out half or 3/4 at that 30, 40 cent mark. And what you need to be doing to break down, and let's just go to it. Let's go to GLTO. Let's go to GLTO here. Let's go to GLTO. Didn't do anything today. Was hoping maybe it possibly would. Did not. All right, let's go to GLTO. So in GLTO, there's stocks that have already been running. I know, and this isn't the greatest of examples, but it's a decent one. But say you're not always up at 3, 4, 5 o'clock. Regardless if you are, and we are now at 7 o'clock. When I come in, because most days when I come in, I'm not a super early pre-market trader, although right now that's where a lot of the spikes and the moves are happening earlier than they used to be. Used to be, because you can see I'm Central Time Zone, right? So used to be they were from most of the time in most of my journey right around this PR release 7, 7:30, and 8. Those were the big PR times, right? So Eastern Time Zone would be 8, 8:30, and 9. That's when all the action was, the spikes were, the reversals were, the shorts were finally happening then, even if they were running a little bit before that. But now a lot of the spikes in the movement are happening 3, 4, 5, 6 in the morning locally for me. Point being, when I come in at 7 o'clock, I literally just start using the charting at hand. I don't go back in time. There's no reason to go back in time, and I'll show you why here, and I'll put levels in, even on this kind of the chaotic mover, on how you can just trade. And here's one line up top already, but let me just go in and put some more extra lines in here, and we'll see how these lines work out over the next foreseeable future and for the weeks to come. The days to come, whatever. Maybe even weeks to come. But boom, into that level. Already got the line in right here, the yellow line. We got a little new, I got the trend line. That's the trend line right here. That line right here is the uptrend channel. So those would be the lines that I could say possibly I could look to trade, right? Those are kind of my areas if I work into market that I would look to be trading at resistance level. Of course, if you want to, have this top green line in, but then we can just see here, once we get into market, how those lines start to work out. Now, they're not perfect, no, and there are some new lines that get created in, which I'd say you want to put a new line in here right out of this second bounce, right off of that second bounce, because now we have a bounce, and now we have a bounce, and now we have resistance there, right? So that's sexy. This line ends up being pretty darn good, pretty damn good. The only lines you're going to start adding in trend lines. And yes, I would start with the base here for sure and work into that and realize it's kind of a choppier chart, but there's your uptrend and the uptrend crack. You could start it, at a better point if you want to, but I'd say somewhere right around there is your uptrend. Whoopsie, didn't want to do that. Come on. I want to do this. Right about there. And like I said, if you want to lower that, whatever. Obviously, now as a painted picture, you certainly would. But I'm saying early on, you might have that a little too tight. Moving forward here, if you want to put an extra line in, we'll go one more line in right here because you don't want to do too many lines. You don't want too many lines close to one another. You just want the lines that are working out that you can trade, that have profitability zones. So if I crack 20, and that's $1 away. That's good, right? So now we can just roll through here for the day, and we can see how these lines that we put in pre-market are working out in market. And now we can go to after hours, right? Now, again, extra lines that you would be putting in. You obviously, I don't want to keep doing that. But my point was going in here to pre-market. If the play has already been running, you don't need to go to past chart history. If you come in like I do, or you come in later in the day and you come in at an hour after the bell, use the chart at hand. That's what's being traded right now. The levels have been created. I get that, like, what, really? I'm like, yes, I don't go back and do I've had times where it's ugly. I always love this story. It was like 3 days straight, or I remember it was about 3 days in a short amount of period. It was kind of like it is now. Maybe it had to have been 2021 into 2022, right? Because I know it had to have been 2020 and 2021 because there wasn't a lot of, whatever reason I didn't come into about an hour after the opening bell. I was probably being lazy because I was probably starting to kill it and just taking whatever. But I didn't come in until, I remember it was about 9, it was around this time, about 9 to around 9:30. and there was this perfect, like, not that we had one today, but it'd be like this trend line. A trend line that was formed from pre-market, running for about an hour, like this back here, all the way. And I'm like, oh, guys, trend line crack below the VWAP. Wow, this is going to be a great. And it was like 3 days in a row. I got one, maybe it was 2 or 3 trades in about 15, 20 minutes and was done. Just killed it. So that's my point. You can come in and the chart's created. You don't have to go back and try to, let me go back on the 4 hour. No, it's right here. Because you can even then zoom out in the next days or even in Power Hour how these lines almost work out gorgeously. You don't have to go through every, if it's already been moving, until we get above 26 is my point. Until we get above 26 or this low of day right here that we double bottom off of the next day that we can now put a line in, you can just sit back here and trade these levels. Maybe manipulate them a little bit if you need to. Okay, now I need to find levels over 25 and go back to past chart history here. We hit it a million times. Of course, it's going to break. Look how you can trade. Look at this thing. Look at that line. Look at that fail. Fail. Bouncing on it. This is from pre-market on Monday. Pre-market Monday levels that we find a couple more in market that now we can go back through here in the past week and look how those levels worked out like a charm later on. Look at the bounce play. Look at this. This is why now you add extra levels. Yes, true. I mean, I'm coming in here and seeing some of my eyes. I can't help but laser and run on in, right? That's it. That's it. Quit making it so hard on yourself. Make it easier. Lines I found on Monday were usable. Recycle, reduce, reuse. Recycle, reduce, whatever that 3 thing was when we started doing the recycling in the 80s and the 90s. This is perfect. This is, again, why I love the chart, why I love teaching you guys the chart, why I've said forever ago I want to be the best charter ever. Or if not, and I have slowly gained this, underground following, which is crazy, with Trade the Pool, and that shout out, with some guy over in Europe, and he, gave me all this love, and now he's doing one-on-ones. Well, he's like the Europe version of me, essentially. He hadn't been doing it as long, but he's doing stuff with TTP now. I was like, what? This is crazy. But that's what I wanted. I wanted this whole lore. Oh, you haven't heard of AK-47? Oh, damn. This is why. I hope this rings a bell with you guys, how to make it easy on yourself. Any last questions on the Discord, on the live stream? Reduce, reuse, and recycle them lines. Yeah, whatever it was. Yeah, something like that. I knew it. Any questions? Anything else from you guys? Good almost 40-minute long lesson right there in small caps. I'll do large caps later today. That'll be the afternoon. You got a paradigm. You got it. Anyone else on the Discord? Anyone else on the live stream here? Hopefully that helped out and rang a bell. That's what I've been doing since 2018. Every single day. Every day. This is where I come up with the lines and levels for you guys in pre-market. And let's go back to this. And I'm going to end this off real quickly. Where's it at now? Okay. All right. Well, I'll end on this to give a tease into the large caps. I want everyone to listen to this real quickly and what I said the SPY was going to do today. Put this over in the live stream. So I just talked about it too as well, in my opinion, on the Discord too as well. It's either 661 essentially for the SPY today. That is a guarantee, or back up to 674, the ultimate high of the day. I feel we will get even higher than that normal high. I just did that just in case. But I feel... Boom. Called this out in pre-market. Before the opening bell, obviously, I was going to say how long, it was only 15 minutes for the opening bell today, that I said we'd either go down and hit that 660 mark, or we were flying right